You say yes when the plan is made, and for a while, you mean it. But when the day gets closer, something in your body starts hoping they cancel first. Not because you dislike them, because staying home feels like the only version of the night where you can finally breathe. Then the familiar guilt comes in, because these may be people you like. The place may be familiar. Nothing about the plan is actually terrible. You may even know that once you get there, part of you could enjoy it. That is what makes the feeling so hard to explain. From the outside, it looks simple. Go out, see people, have fun, come home. But for some quiet people, leaving the house can feel like stepping away from the only place where their nervous system has finally stopped working so hard. They imagine the noise before it happens. The greetings, the questions, the careful smile that says they are fine before anyone even asks. Home is not just where they sleep, it is where their face rests, where their voice softens, where no one needs them to become easier to read. And that is why loving home is often misunderstood by others. That misunderstanding can follow quiet people for years. Someone hears you say you would rather stay home, and they think you are boring. Someone watches you turn down an invitation, and they assume you are antisocial. A friend may even take it personally, as if choosing your room means rejecting them. But loving home does not automatically mean you are lazy, lonely, or afraid of life. It does not mean you have nothing happening. It does not mean you dislike people. Sometimes it means the world outside asks for a version of you that takes more energy than anyone can see. You answer faster out there. You smile before your face is ready. You keep your voice warm, your reactions clear, your mood easy to understand, and by the time you get home, the quiet does not feel empty. It feels like your body finally gets to stop explaining itself. That is the part people miss. For some quiet people, home is not an escape from life. It is the place where life becomes quiet enough to feel real again, without needing to defend your quiet. If this hit a little too close to home, drop home in the comments. Not as an excuse, just as a sign that you know what it feels like to be misunderstood this way. There is a reason home feels different to quiet people. It is not only the couch, the familiar walls, or the fact that no one is asking them to go anywhere. It is what stops happening. Out in the world, they keep making tiny decisions almost no one notices. How much to say, how quickly to answer. Whether a pause can simply be a pause, or whether it needs to be softened before someone misunderstands it. None of that looks exhausting from the outside. It just looks like being normal. But by the end of a day, normal can feel heavy. Then the door closes. Shoes come off. The phone lands somewhere nearby, but not in the hand anymore. For the first time in hours, they are not preparing themselves before someone sees them. They are not measuring every answer. They are not trying to seem more available than they feel. The room does not ask for a brighter version of them. It lets them be unfinished. A quiet person may sit there doing almost nothing, and still feel something inside them returning. That is why staying home can feel less like missing life, and more like finally getting back to the part of themselves that the outside world keeps borrowing for a little while again. Some people hear, "I love staying home," and imagine a life getting smaller. They picture someone hiding from the world, letting the weekend pass, missing all the things that make life interesting. But that is not always what is happening. For many quiet people, the problem is not life. It is too much input arriving at once. A loud restaurant can turn dinner into work. A crowded street can make their thoughts scatter. A room full of overlapping voices can leave them smiling, while their body quietly asks for less. Their body is not asking for a dramatic escape, just a little less noise, a little less movement, a little more time to catch up with itself before the next answer is expected. Home gives them that, not because it is empty, but because it is adjustable. The lamp can stay low, the room can stay still, the evening can move at the speed their mind can follow. Other people may need noise to feel alive. A quiet person may need quiet before life starts feeling close again. That difference is easy to judge from the outside. A Saturday night at home may look like nothing, but inside, something important may be happening. The nervous system settles, the mind opens. The person who felt stretched thin all day slowly becomes available to themselves again. They are not choosing less life. They are choosing the amount of life they can actually feel, without going numb from it. Control can sound like a cold word, but for quiet people, it often means something softer. It means knowing the room will not demand more from them than they have left. Outside, even small things can keep their body braced. A table too close to another table, music that makes it hard to think, someone changing the plan at the last minute and expecting them to adjust instantly. Nothing terrible has happened. Still, their attention keeps getting pulled away from themselves. At home, the pace belongs to them again. They can open a window when the room feels stale, leave a light off because brightness has started to feel loud, eat when they are hungry, pause when they need to pause, and let an evening unfold without explaining why they are moving slowly. That is not control in the harsh sense. It is the relief of not having to keep up. The room lets them notice what they need before someone else needs something from them. This is why staying home can feel so good after a week of being available to everyone else. The quiet person is not trying to make the world smaller. They are trying to find one place where the world stops reaching for them. If this put words to something you felt but never knew how to explain, give it a like. It helps this kind of quiet psychology reach the people who need it. This is also why small things at home can feel bigger than they look. Someone else might see an ordinary evening and assume nothing is happening. A quiet person may experience it differently. The cup on the table means nobody is rushing them. The show in the background keeps the room gentle. Even the same corner of the couch can feel familiar in a way their body understands before their mind does. From outside, that may not look like a life. It may look too simple, too quiet. But quiet people often experience home through rhythm, not spectacle. The coffee tastes different when no one is waiting for them to become interesting. Even silence can feel full when it is finally chosen instead of forced. This is not about being boring. It is about noticing the kind of peace most people rush past while searching for something bigger. A quiet person may forget a loud night out, but they may remember the rain against the window while they stayed in, warm, unhurried, and completely themselves. That is what home gives them. Not excitement in the obvious sense. More like a place where life becomes small enough to hold. And for quiet people, that can be enough. Going out can feel strange because a quiet person does not always leave the house as themselves. They leave with a version prepared, a little more responsive, a little easier to read, a little quicker to reassure people that nothing is wrong. Most people do some of this. The difference is how long a quiet person may have to hold it. At dinner, they laugh a little sooner than they feel. In a group photo, they make themselves look present. When someone asks why they are so quiet, they search for an answer that will not make the moment heavier. By the time they get home, they may not be upset. They may have even enjoyed parts of the night. But there is often a small relief in becoming private again. The jacket comes off. The expression drops. The borrowed version of themselves finally steps back. This is why staying home can feel honest. It is the one place where they do not have to keep proving they are okay, fun enough, warm enough, social enough. They can be a little tired without explaining it, a little quiet without defending it, a little unfinished without turning it into a problem. For quiet people, home is not only a location, it is where they stop borrowing a self and start returning to the one underneath again, without an audience. There is one honest question worth asking here. Does staying home bring you back to yourself, or does it keep you from meeting life at all? Those two can look similar from outside. In both cases, the person turns down plans, spends weekends indoors, and feels relieved when the door stays closed. But the feeling afterward is different. Healthy solitude leaves a person clearer. They may feel rested, softer, more able to think, more able to care. The quiet gives something back. Avoidance feels heavier. It may begin as relief, but slowly the world starts feeling harder to enter. A message feels like pressure. An invitation feels like a threat. Even people they miss begin to feel far away. That is when home stops being a place of recovery and starts becoming a wall. This does not mean quiet people have to force themselves into every plan. It does not mean peace is wrong. It only means their body deserves a life that feels safe, not one that keeps shrinking around fear. Staying home is healthy when it helps you return to yourself. It becomes painful when it teaches you that you can only feel like yourself when you are alone. The difference matters. One gives you rest. The other quietly takes away your ability to reach back until the world outside feels unreal and too far away. So maybe loving home is not about rejecting the world. Maybe it is about needing one place where the world stops asking for a performance. A quiet person can care about people. They can still enjoy a good conversation, laugh at the right joke, and remember a night out with warmth. But home gives them something different. It gives them the room to come back without being translated. No bright version, no polit version, no socially ready version standing at the door before they even know how they feel. Just the self, underneath all that effort. That is why staying home can feel less like missing out and more like returning to a language their body understands. The quiet, the slower evening, the small ritual that makes the day feel held instead of rushed. People may call it boring because nothing obvious is happening. But sometimes, the most important thing happening is invisible. A person is settling back into themselves. Send this to someone who gets called boring or antisocial when they're just trying to keep one place where they can breathe. Thank you for watching until this moment. I'm Khan. Subscribe for more videos about introverts, quiet people, and the psychology behind behaviors most people misunderstand. Goodbye, and see you next time.